Be ye lamps unto yourselves, be your own confidence. Hold to the truth within yourself, as to the only lamp.
Hey, this is Dancing Rabbit. Welcome to another Weekend Pagan Perspective. This week's questions both have to do with relationships with family members. First one is, what if you're married and you and your spouse have different religious beliefs, practices? If you have children, which beliefs do you teach your children? One, the other, both, neither, or what? What about holidays? Wouldn't it be confusing to the child? Well, yes, I suppose anything might possibly be confusing and anything might possibly have difficulties with it. You know, most of the time when someone asks advice like this, I give what I consider very open-ended, balanced sort of answer. You know, there's advantages to this, there's advantages to that, you know, maybe this, maybe that. You make your own choice. I do have a definite opinion on this one. I think that teaching or exposing a young person to a variety of religious beliefs and practices is preferable than indoctrinating them in one particular set of religious beliefs and practices, even if you feel with all your heart that that is the best religious path in the world and everybody ought to follow it. I think that it's important to teach people, young people especially, how to ask good questions. And it's also important that they have enough good factual and enough good experiences so that they can find answers to those questions. Now, I think that it might be a little difficult just for you and your spouse to take it upon yourself to do all the research, to basically create a curriculum, a plan, a program, and then to carry it out consistently. Wouldn't it be nice if there was some kind of organization who'd already invented this wheel, who already had spent years and years teaching young people different religious paths in a very accepting, open-ended sort of a way? Wouldn't it be nice if that organization also had a place for you and your spouse? I mean, imagine how wonderful that would be. Well, such an organization already exists. It's called the Unitarian Universalist Association. There are a little over 1,000 congregations scattered over the United States. There are congregations that are similar to that in Canada and in the UK and in other parts of the world. I've put a link in the underbar to the UUA.org website. Go there, do a congregation search, see if there's a Unitarian congregation within a reasonable distance of where you live. Check it out online, and I'd encourage you to be brave and show up on Sunday morning and see if there's a good fit. It will be very different from anything you've ever experienced once you begin to get into it a little deeper. I think on the surface, most UU services look very much like a generic Protestant service. You might notice that there are some differences. Probably God and Jesus won't be mentioned, or at least won't be invoked constantly throughout the service. There probably will not be a cross anywhere evident. If there is, there will be other religious symbols. Basically, Unitarian Universalism began as two separate, rather radically liberal Christian denominations, and then over the years sort of drifted to be something which is maybe a little beyond or more than Christianity. So you'll have a chance to hang out with liberal Christians, atheists, Buddhists, Muslims, Hindus, and pagans who all mostly get along with each other pretty well, at least on a theological basis. There may be personality conflicts, but you get that anywhere. The children's religious education program, which is, I guess, the UU equivalent of Sunday school, draws from all 6 of our sources and exposes young people over the years to the beliefs and the practices and the holidays of all the major religions. And there will probably be at some point field trips or guest speakers, so that by the time your child is finishing the 8th grade, they will be to the point of being able to write their own personal credo and present it to the congregation. This is it's not, I guess, required, but it's a pretty normal expected thing. And this credo is expected to not be something set in concrete, not crystallized even at that point, but it's continually changing and morphing. As far as holidays, most UU congregations celebrate the 2 major Christian holidays, Christmas and Easter, though I think that you will find a slightly different bend or interpretation to those than you'd find in most traditional Protestant or Catholic churches. Other holidays, the Jewish holidays, are usually at least studied or mentioned, if not actually celebrated. There are holidays connected with paganism, which may be celebrated on Sunday morning in some fashion, or celebrated in a small covenant of Unitarian Universalist pagans group. So I'd encourage you to go online and check it out. Be brave enough to actually attend. I think that you will be pleasantly surprised that there is this sort of organization that can actually carry out what you have in mind. If there's not a congregation near you, there is a UU church called Church of the Larger Fellowship, which is sort of a mail order, or I guess now you could call it probably an online church. You'll have access to an ordained minister, and there's also religious education material, so you could conceivably take what the Unitarians have put together for you and do it at home. Okay, second question, I think I'd have a little briefer answer for, and this is basically you are married to someone of a different religious path and they're not quite so accepting of your path, and the question is, how do you get your partner to accept your religion? Well, my short answer is that you don't. In fact, when you realize that you can't, you've probably made the first great step in the right direction. I got the impression from the questioner that their partner, who's Catholic but is not really very practicing Catholic anymore, is not adamantly opposed to paganism. I didn't hear anything like, I'm going to divorce you if you don't quit being a pagan, or get all of your pagan stuff out of the house, or else. I didn't hear anything like that. It was just a lack of acceptance. Maybe there's a tolerance, but there's not that acceptance that you're looking for. There's nothing you can do about it, so quit trying. You have done the basic discussion as to what paganism is, or what your particular brand of paganism is about. So your spouse has the basic information. But decisions like this are generally not made intellectually on the basis of information, and giving more information is not going to make the difference that you're hoping for. What might possibly make the difference, and it will take time, is for your spouse to see your paganism in practice. And I don't so much mean see the rituals, but see that paganism makes an ethical difference in your life, that paganism is important to you, that it's a positive factor in your life. Jesus said, "Can men gather figs from the thorns, or grapes from the thistles? He that hath ears, let him hear. By their fruits you shall know them." This is a very orthopraxic sort of statement. I mean orthopraxic, right actions, as opposed to orthodox, right beliefs. And this is really what paganism is about. It's about doing, honoring the gods by your deeds, rather than honoring them by accepting a set of beliefs, which is correct for all times and places and everybody. Let your spouse see what paganism is actually doing for you and what you do differently because you are pagan. And perhaps over time his attitude will soften a little bit and he will become more tolerant, more accepting, possibly going at some point, maybe years from now, attending a ritual with you because it's important to you, not because he necessarily at that time really wants to go to a ritual. There are several, I think they're all women, who are associated with the Cubs group Feather and I work with, that the woman is pagan, the man is something else, Jewish, Catholic, whatever. And it's not quite as great and wonderful as if they were both of the same spiritual path and could both take part in the same rituals and the same holidays with the same enthusiasm. But it does seem to work out quite well. Occasionally the spouse attends one of our small group rituals. We're also members of Council of the Magical Arts, which is a large regional group that does 2 festivals a year. And sometimes the non-pagan spouses attend festivals. And I'm sure that perhaps the pagan spouse occasionally attends church. It's a give and take kind of thing. But definitely get yourself out of the mindset that you're going to change your spouse, because I think the more that you actively try to change, the more resistant he's going to become to the change. So good luck. You might also maybe check out a Unitarian church, and that might be a compromise for both of you. We have quite a few former Roman Catholics attending the Unitarian church we attend. One of the things that Catholics tend to miss in a kind of nostalgic way in going to Unitarian churches is the ritual, because UU churches are not a liturgical sort of a thing like Catholic, Orthodox, or Anglican. And quite a few of the Roman Catholic Unitarians that I've met get into paganism simply to pick up that ritual element that was missing in the very Protestant-y UU church. So I'm going to kind of try to wrap this up, quit rambling before I start repeating, but I do want to point out for those of you that were not aware, the picture, the photo that I used in the introduction is from a Unitarian church. It's a flaming chalice, which is the typical opening ritual, the creating sacred space ritual that Unitarian Universalist churches use. It would happen at the beginning of worship service, at the beginning of small group meetings, discussion group meetings, religious education classes, and that sort of thing. It's what maybe passes for circle casting or an opening prayer, since probably half or more of our members are non-theist, agnostic, atheists, or, I just don't know, don't care, deity doesn't really resonate with me sort of people. The chant that I used at the beginning to introduce the video is actually a Buddhist chant, but we've used it at First Church several times as an introit, as a kind of a centering chant. So, that's all I have to say about that, and I'll see you next time. Till then, go in peace.